Welcome to The New Next, a podcast that addresses current events and how they will impact the future. Co-hosted by the inquisitive public speaking champion, Mike McVeigh, and energy, economics, and technology expert, Matt Jensen. Join us as we explore all things energy, economic, tech, and political, and how they will affect our future.
Podcasts typically grow by word of mouth. If you know anyone who would enjoy this content, sharing this in a message or by posting on social media would mean the world to us. Thanks for listening, and let's get started.
All right. So some interesting news that has happened fairly recently, about a week ago. Walmart has partnered with Roku to bring shoppable ads to streaming. And one, maybe you can explain what what a shoppable ad to streaming is, and then if it's different than regular TV ads, and then maybe talk a little bit about this could be possibly a future growth area. And I think you have a couple examples to use as that. So why don't we just start with what is a shoppable ad to streaming, or a streaming shoppable ad?
So Roku is a digital box, or you could just think about that almost like kind of your cable box used to be, and it allows you to have like YouTube, Hulu, stuff like that on there. And with that, it's almost like a data channel where I see, like, I don't know whether you utilize it now, but I'm just talking about it. If I was the profit maximization person with my background, how I would utilize that. But with it, digital stuff, you can hyper locate to the devices, basically all their interests and stuff like that, kind of like Google has done with search and email. But when you're talking about Roku, Walmart could tailor ads for certain goods based on who the person is, and essentially have a digital way where people can pick up a remote, press enter, and then purchase that with their, address and billing information in there already. So
that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So when you're talking about like trying to sell people, you're trying to use digital commerce to remove the friction between the advertising and the sale. And if you're doing newspaper ads for some reason, someone reads something in the physical New York Times, they have to get on the internet, find it, and then do something through that, basically.
Right.
Instagram, stuff like that. I don't know if Twitter is done, but there's been a big push for social media apps to have like buy now buttons through that in recent years. So that's way to think about it. But when you're scrolling through Instagram, you're there to kind of like look at pictures. When you're in front of your TV, you're consuming content, and this is kind of like a break in the content. So you have like a whole room's or the viewer's focus on what's going on in front of you. So it's, as far as I think, it's basically the best targeted advertisement that you can get. And if you can make that purchase seamless, where people can just click on it and order it and it shows up, like that's a total game changer for me. When I was thinking about this, I was thinking about the TV show Shark Tank, for example. And I had that on in the background when I was reading this article originally. And just thinking about how Shark Tank could be a company that could monetize it. So Shark Tank, basically, I don't know how the structure goes around it, but you have these sharks on there, and I'm sure there's some sort of arrangement between the show and the funds that they invest in, where they get, eventually some exposure to that. But if Shark Tank controls their advertising on it, you can have targeted advertisement based on all the data of everybody else that watches that show or watches shows on your Roku. And if like they're selling like jam on it or something like that, you could have a commercial break after they do the pitch where they advertise that, and then they're basically like click the enter on your Roku device to order this and have this Shark Tank project or product delivered right to your home. So Shark Tank already has, when you appear on there, it's a pretty commonly told story that people sell out in like the 24 hours following, their appearance on it.
Right.
So it's almost like a sales commercial for your product anyways, but removing that purchase friction where they literally can click on it afterwards and buy it right away. It's pretty amazing. So,
yeah,
I think this is kind of like the stuff that you don't get in normal analog TV, cable TV services, where you can have the platform for this kind of digital synergy between the media that you consume and purchase.
It'll be interesting, assuming that they're able to get it working well. It'll be interesting to see how much Walmart can catch up with Amazon.
Yeah,
if they can. That does sound kind of interesting. Of course, if it's even somewhat successful, like not necessarily money-wise for either Roku or Walmart, if it's successful that they're able to figure out how to do that well, then you can definitely see this happening to all the streaming services, making deals with various companies. I mean, I hate to say it, but Disney Plus already has a direct buy-in. They don't have to fix up with another company. They have the Disney store.
Yeah.
And can you imagine that you see something like a Miss Marvel or something and like a shirt that says Captain America's butt or something, and then you can buy that shirt immediately from the Disney store.
And I think you made a good point about leveling the playing field with Amazon, because Amazon has that platform where people just go on there right away and look for what they want. So that gives them, the power to kind of get a piece of what everybody's on there. But if you utilize someone else's platform that already has those eyeballs, then it kind of, it definitely, I guess kind of poaches some of those sales opportunities where people would go on and look at Amazon right away and purchase it through that. So
yeah,
it's
I'm thinking of this purely just from the streaming TV side of stuff, not even looking at the products like, so Amazon Prime is widely known as having a few really good series, but nothing else
they have James
that's
Bond
available. That's because everybody's like The Boys, but but if they could find a way to even get close to the producing standpoint of some of these other streamers, because Apple has Apple TV, and they've got a few shows that are, like Ted Lasso specifically, which is already set up very much like a thing where you could definitely see them talking about like, well, our coaching team, we used Nike, and then all of a sudden you can buy Nike from Apple or whatever. Disney has Disney. Netflix, it would be interesting because Netflix is still the number one watched streaming service out there. So it'd be kind of interesting to see with all the Netflix original programming who they would be able to team up with, especially since ThinkGeek kind of failed. That would have been easy, especially if it's like Stranger Things. But then it kind of makes you, like we talked a few weeks ago about these big four companies and the bill and stuff, but it'd be interesting. Facebook is kind of left out of this because they don't have any kind of video content that they're producing, or Meta is left out. So it'd be kind of interesting to see if they try to buy one of the stores out there to, like, all of a sudden they buy
Netflix.
I don't know. Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, buy Netflix, and then they have to go buy a specific company or have a deal with a specific company to do business with.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'm
Facebook is definitely going through some growing pains, I think.
It'd be interesting also, since Amazon does have one thing that none of those Apple does, but not to the same extent, but Audible, if we can do this with streaming on TV, and I know that's by site, but what if while you're listening to a book, fiction or nonfiction, and they talk about a specific item, and you can pause it and click the item you want, like you can buy that item directly from Amazon.
Yeah.
That just sounds really cool. And so you're listening to Harry Potter or something, and you want a magic wand, and you click it, and here's like the Amazon's official Harry Potter magic wand, and all of a sudden it's at your house magically. Or if
the whole sales information flow has gotten really interesting, and Google and their event where they released technology, I guess this was probably the end of April. End of April or end of May, they had something that I felt was pretty amazing. And they have this new, it's like an augmented search almost. So the example that they had was running a phone over a chocolate bar section. And it basically looks at the labels and it correlates that to online data. So it shows basically the ratings of all the chocolates on it, and then all of this information showed on it in an augmented sense, kind of like what you thought Google Glass would be, but with your phone. And that's probably something that we should talk about a later time. But
that'd be fun.
Yeah, I thought that was amazing, and it shows certain things, is like how fast computer to real life interaction has become, how good that kind of data flow has become. And with Roku, for instance, I see, the capability of using these digital platforms that kind of pull in everything through their channels. There's a lot of opportunity for them to essentially be a funnel where they get a piece off of these transactions. So it's I think it's a genius idea. I think it goes to show how much, like, Walmart's definitely lag behind Amazon, but Walmart is a pretty legit company.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, number 2 is nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah. So Amazon is a little bit different. Like, their technical services, their AWS, are beautiful. So, shout out to AWS. That's what I primarily use. But but it's,
I'm not going to shout out to it.
Well, I'll shout out to them. But
boo.
Walmart is a very interesting company. In terms of like the digital transformation that they've undergone, and really how their business model works in the first place. So I saw that, and I was just like, instantly my mind is going. I'm visualizing how that could look in my head, and
oh my goodness! I just realized ESPN is owned by Disney and ABC as well.
Yeah.
You've got another thing that they can have contracts with the sports things and stuff very easily. Like, you see the new shoes that are out or whatever.
Yeah. Click the star button to browse products associated with this game.
Yeah.
You can buy jerseys and stuff like that while you're watching it. There's a, I think there's a huge opportunity in the future to really reduce this friction between advertising and the point of sales, and whoever's going to reduce that the most is going to win. So there's been people that have been trying to do it on social media. I think when you get into this place where people are intentionally looking at content rather than being kind of consumers of the feed coming in, it's almost a better opportunity because you have their focus and intention or attention on that topic at the moment. And that's a sales opportunity that I think is underutilized. So like you said, ESPN and Fanatics for merchandise, that could be a good partnership. Disney, like you said, has the ability to sell all their branded goods through the platform already.
Yeah,
you
add in the Star Wars and Fox. Well, I mean, just what's available to you is tremendous. That's really kind of cool.
Yeah,
much cooler than Teal Swan. So, if you would like to learn more about the New Next podcast, find us at thenewnextpodcast.com, where you can suggest a topic you would like for us to cover. If you enjoyed what you heard, share the podcast, tell a friend about it, or rate us with 5 stars. We appreciate you.